Hello and welcome to CodeSlicing. I'm Adam, lifelong coder and creator of PureSwiftUI. This is part one of an exciting two-part series where we are recreating the animations from MyFitnessPal. Not all of them. We're just going to do one animation, but it's pretty good. Well, specifically this one. And if you like that, you're going to like this. In this part, we're going to be doing the groundwork. We're going to lay the foundation upon which we're going to build the animations in part two. Before you all rush off to part two, because that's the exciting part, well, you're wrong, because this is going to be exciting. We're going to be dealing with principles here. We're going to be writing code that's easy to read and easy to use and then easy to animate. And what could be more exciting than that, apart from animating? Exactly nothing. So please join me on this journey of awesomeness, which begins right now. All right, a blank canvas. And the first thing we're going to fill it with is a circle. A massive circle that is far too big for our needs. So let's rein that in to a size of 48. And we're going to put it at the bottom of the screen. Now we need some padding. Let's add that. Bit of padding on the V-stack. And that looks just about right. Now that button needs to be a very specific blue. I mean, we are perfectionists around here after all. So forgive me for this, but we're going to define a color. Button blue equals a color with 42 reds, 99 greens, and 228 blues, roughly. And we're going to fill the button with that color. Button blue. There it is. And if we resume that, we should see our lovely color in play. Okay, excellent. And that button needs a symbol. And we're going to put a plus symbol on, which is going to be an SF symbol inside an overlay, like this. Overlay, SF symbol, plus, using a nice enum from PureSwiftUI. And that has to be white, like that. Now, the next thing we need to define is the template that we're going to replicate in our array of buttons. So we're just going to define it for now and then extract out the commonalities. So let's define it here below the spacer as another circle, which again, far too big because we're not giants after all. So let's tame that to a size of 50. And that is going to be white. Now we have a problem because we can't see it, of course, but well, it's not actually a problem. This is what we expect. So the reason we expect this is because in the original design, the buttons actually float on top of a black sheet that has an opacity, so you can kind of just about see the contents below it, and the buttons float on top of that. So we will be able to see them once we've got that in place. And the way we're going to implement that is with a Z stack. Okay, so we say Z stack. We move all of this up into that, and we define the color with an opacity of 0.8. And then we have to ignore all safe areas. And with that, we need to add an icon and some text to this button. So let's put an overlay of another SF symbol. And this one, we're going to use a star just as a placeholder for now. And we're going to add another overlay for the text. And this is going to be specifically caption text, which I think emulates the original. American favorite is going to be white and it's going to be semi-bold. And we're going to put it 40 pixels below the center of the button. Of course, we can't see it, so let's add some space to the V stack of 60. And that looks pretty good. Now we have the thing we're going to replicate. So now we need to think about how are we going to do that? What do we need to extract out? There are two things required for each button. Two things that are going to change. One is the SF symbol, the other one is the title. And when you've got two types or values that are associated like that, I like to use a tuple. And when I'm using tuples, I like to define a type alias. I mean, that just speaks to me as a developer. Maybe I'm speaking the wrong language, I don't know, but that's what I'm going to do. So here I'm going to define a type alias. Title and symbol. And that is going to be a tuple with a title of type string and a symbol of type SF symbol name. An SF symbol name is just the enum that drives the SF symbols in PureSwiftUI. So now we've got that, we can define our array. Now this is going to be a two-dimensional array with 2 rows. And in the first row, we're going to have 3 columns. And in the second row, we're going to have 2 columns. So we can declare it like this. Button titles and symbols, which is going to be of type two-dimensional array, title and symbol. And we initialize it like this. In the first row, we've got our favorite that we defined before, which has the star symbol. The next one is tag. The next one is going to be share, which is a square and arrow up. In the second row, we've got comment, which is a text bubble. And finally, we've got delete, which is the trash can. There. That's our array. Now, I don't know what these do. I mean, you can use your imagination, but they are literally to facilitate the animation, nothing more. So now we've got our array, it's time to extract our button into something that we can replicate. So let's extract a subview here. And we'll call it something imaginative like MyFitnessPal button. Let's go and grab it and move it to somewhere where we can see it. And we're going to give this subview a property of type, title and symbol. So let's let title and symbol be of type title and symbol, just like that. And the compilation police are not happy because, because the type alias is file private. And we can fix that. Yes, officer. Anything you say, sir. And then we take the title and symbol and we use it here. We take the symbol and we replace favorite with the title and we're going to say uppercase. Now, of course, we could declare all these titles as uppercase, but well, where's the fun in that? So now all we need to do is loop through our array. And we do that by looping through the first dimension and then looping through the second dimension, adding H stacks as we go. Because this is essentially going to be 2 rows. Each one is going to be an H stack. The first H stack is going to have 3. The second H stack is going to have 2. And the spacing of these H stacks and V stacks working together is going to give us the result that we want. So let's loop through these arrays. Now we can take advantage of the fact that the for each view does support the half open range operator here. So we can use that like this, button titles and symbols count. And that is going to be our row index. And this is where we set up our first H stack with a spacing that we had on the V stack. And then we loop through the columns. So we say we're going to go to, we index into that row index and we take the number of columns, which is the count, and that is our column index. And well, now we just move this in like this. Delete that extra space. And we say title and symbol is button titles and symbols, row index, column index. And I think that's it. I'll resume. Let's see what we get. Look at that. We're almost done. And the only thing left really is that this is wrapping our titles, and we can fix that literally by saying fixed size. And that fixes the problem nicely. And I do believe we are there. So as promised, we've got some authentic looking buttons that we can animate in part 2. So join me for that. It's going to be brilliant. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them below. But in the meantime, thanks for joining me. See you next time.